Hello guys, now we talk about clause 4.4 quality management system and its processes. 2008 standard is similar with 2015 standard, still process based. What makes 2015 special is the fact that it comes with a more clarity on the components of a process. So today I'm going to cover the components of a process. You should be very good with the components of the process because you are going to be food technologists. You should know the process in details. So what you must do is determine the processes needed by your organizations, and you have to identify the key details about the processes. Key details: input, output, criteria, methods, measurement, etc. I want you to devise a process matrix. So when you consider all the elements, you will truly know yourself, know your process. You understand what it takes to be successful. Otherwise, you won't be able to achieve improvement. You won't be able to achieve even the basic quality if you don't know your process. So what you can do as a group, you can brainstorm. You choose major processes within your organization, meaning for you it's going to be production. Let somebody else worry about purchasing process, maybe R&D process. Talk about the production. And various components of the process as defined by 9001-2015 that you can use to define your process. Number one is inputs and outputs. Definitely the process need raw materials, that's the input. So most of the time it is physical, i.e. the coffee powder, the sugar, the creamer, the rice, the oil, packaging materials. These are the input. Sometimes you need the information. This can be the certificate of analysis, the halal certificate. It can help the decision making. And you have the outputs of the particular process. We call this not the product, we call this in process products because it is still internal product, it is not finished products. And then you have number two, sequence and interaction, which is will help you to define the process so that you realize where you are. You have I don't know, 20 processes. Some company are so big they have like 100 processes. So as a food technologist, you have to put this in the right perspective, in logical sequence. Maybe design come first, then purchasing, and then finally production. Number three, criteria and methods. We have specification, right? You have requirements that the process is attempting to meet, and then you have methods that the SOP that must be used in the operation of the process, and then you have parameters. You can use as performance indicators, so that you can tell if the process meeting the criteria established. And then you have resources. We need the raw materials, we need the suppliers, we need the specification, we need utilities, we need space, we need workers, we need forklift, we need many things. Sometimes we need aircon, we need lights. These are utilities. You need water, utilities. Without a key resource, your process can be halted, can be stopped. So to prevent the process from being interrupted, you need to plan the resources in advance. Otherwise you'll be in trouble. The process must not be stopped. Number five, responsibility and authority. There must be somebody in charge. Someone is responsible for each process. There is primary responsibility. This could be an authority, of course. This could be the managers, and he can delegate the specific tasks to somebody else, maybe the technicians, maybe supervisors, line leaders. So, but the authority is given to only this one person, the manager maybe. Number 6, risks and opportunities. Okay, yeah, there is another video on this, risks and opportunities. It comes from clause number 6.1. So what we need to do here is to, after you describe the process, you also include, you also list the major risks and opportunities that can influence the process. While understanding the process, you are also attempting to understand the risks and the opportunities that come with the process. So you have to choose what are the risks and opportunities that is the most important. You're not going to put all in, yeah, it's going to be too many and too messy. Number 7 is about evaluations. How will you know if the process is effective if you don't evaluate? So each process must be evaluated in order for you to determine if the intended result match with the process yield, whatever you yield from the process. So enabling you to monitor and measure the results. So if you compare the result versus the intended results, you know whether the process is effective. Otherwise, identify the gap and solve the problem. Finally, number 8, there is improvement. Several categories of improvement can be suggested from anybody, maybe the technician, maybe the line leaders, maybe you as manager. Yeah, maybe you spot something for improvement in terms of cost reduction. Maybe the process itself can be made more efficient. Maybe you can reduce non-conformity. Maybe you can achieve higher customer satisfaction, or any other measures. So again, you look back at clause 6.1 about risks and opportunities, because from analyzing risks and opportunities, you may be presented with opportunities for improvement. Yeah, by studying clause 6.1 risks and opportunities, you will get ideas of the most meaningful improvement. Okay, now that components 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 are there, you are now looking from the bird's eye view. You are gaining comprehensive understanding of what is needed to operate your process. Just one process, yeah, there are so many other processes, but one process has these 8 components. So for sustainability, you are to maintain the understanding in document forms, even though not required by standards. For long term, somebody new come and you can study the documents. You get the understanding of the management, and then the control and improvements of the process. Okay, so here I summarize the whole component of the processes. So it has inputs and outputs, putting separately, even though they may come together as a component, so that it is clear that input differently, output differently from the same process. So you have criteria and method, responsibility and authority, sequence and interactions, resources, risks and opportunities, and evaluations. Finally, improvement will be I'll put there a little bit outside the whole box. Okay, remember we learned about process 1, but process 1 can contribute to process 2, process 3, and finally we have the finished product. I use Nescafe because I can only find Nescafe here. So from the suppliers, go to process 1, and then process 1 maybe do mixing, producing the powder, 3-in-1 powder. Process 2 will do the sachet filling, and then process 3 will do packaging. There's going to be 28 sachet in one packaging, and finally distribution. So from here what we can learn is, number 1, processes are interrelated. Yeah? Whatever changes you make in process 1 will affect the whole processes and will eventually affect the quality of finished products. Number 2, each process has input and output. output of process 1 become the input of process 2, and etc. It goes on and on. Each process has risks and opportunities, so it is up to you to analyze them. Process 1 has different risks and different opportunities. Process 2 has different risks and opportunities. Each process must be monitored, and you have the result. You compare with intended results. If there is a gap, you have to address the gap, and then you have to decide whether the process is effective. Then you can decide whether you're going to approve or reject the process. And each process can be improved. A small improvement in one process may affect greatly the whole processes, and then the quality of the finished products. Okay, we learn a lot from looking at this picture. Okay, what you can do, this is commonly done in industry. They use turtle diagrams. You put there in the middle the process, receiving of raw material. This is just an example, yeah, for 3-in-1 coffee. So surrounding this process is the components of the process, resources, the input, criteria and methods, measures and performance, responsibility, risks, and finally you have the output, which is the approved raw materials to be used for the next process. Okay, so this looks very easy because it is just a simple PowerPoint drawing. What I'd like you to do in your assignment is to construct process metrics for the whole processes involved in the product of your choice. Yeah, this is one example, which is receiving of raw materials for 3-in-1 coffee mix. So you have coffee powder come from one supplier, creamer come from another supplier, sugar come from another supplier. So 3 raw materials. It is the responsibility of the quality control manager, maybe overall. Of course, this manager will ask his technician to do the receiving. And then inputs, you need the materials, coffee powder, creamer and sugar. Maybe the technician will look at the documents, product requirement or specification. And then the criteria and methods, you have quantity and particulars. You check according to the purchase order or not. You need the documents now. And then you check the product, whether there is any sign of physical damage. If you're not clear, you can refer to the SOP QC01, which is Standard Operating Procedure Quality Control 01, which probably describe the verification of incoming products. Yeah, the resources can be receiving area, or the workers, the forklift, the specification, and then you have the output there. They're going to be approved raw material for next process, and then the risks, which is could be late delivery, non-conforming raw materials. Yeah, so now that you know this is your risk, you become more aware. You become you want to check, you want to make sure that there are going to be no late delivery. You want to really should be sure that the raw material that arrive are conforming to the specification, because that is the risk. And then the measures and performance indicators are accurate to the order, 100% correct according to the order. That is the performance indicators. This is just an example, yeah, for receiving raw materials. After this process, there's going to be another process, which is mixing of the powder. After mixing, there is you're going to put everything into sachet. There's a lots of processes following after that. So in your assignment, please, you're going to prepare process metrics together with the quality objective and risks and opportunities. Okay, that's all guys. So again, happy learning.